Okay, so today's opener, I am recording you guys because we didn't record this first hour. Today's opener is going to be just like what we're going to do on the quiz. So when you're using the MA method and the area model to factor, the first thing that your notes tell you to do is determine what the M and the A is. How do you find out what the M is?
Do 8 times 30.
Okay, because you're going to take the first coefficient times the third coefficient. So I'm going to take 8 times 3. What's 8 times 3 equal?
24.
Okay. And then the second part is to find your A. The A is going to be the second coefficient. So then step 2 on your notes tell you to find what you can multiply together to get 24, but use the same numbers then, add together to get 10. So what you need to do is list the factors of 24. So what can I all use to multiply together to get 24? I do them in order. So I think to myself, 1 times what equals 24?
24.
Okay. Now if I add those two numbers together, do I get 10?
No.
No, so that doesn't work. Okay. 2 times what gets me to 24?
Wait, can you slow it down?
Mm-hmm.
Cause I'm lost. Wait, how do you? 3 times. Okay.
So then 2 plus 12 equals 14. Too many. So then, can I take and multiply 3 times something to get 24?
8.
8. So if I take 3 plus 8, what does that equal?
11.
11. Too many. Can I take 4 and multiply it by something to get
6.
Okay. So 4 times 6 is 24. What if I add those two numbers together?
10.
So that's going to be my MA. Hey, Drew, you might want to write this down. All right. So step 3 then says, take these numbers and put them in the upper right box and the bottom left box. It does not matter if you want to put your 4 here or your 6 there. It does not matter. Okay? I'm going to use my 4 there and my 6 down here. But if you wrote your 6 up at the top and your 4 down at the bottom, just make sure you factor it right. Your answer will be fine. It'll just be reverse than what I'm going to write. Okay? Doesn't mean you're wrong.
So we do the same just like in different boxes?
Kind of, yeah. So, since the 4 and the 6 represent that 10, what variable do I need to put with them? Yeah, an A. And now we need to continue filling out the areas for our area model. So what's the area of the first rectangle? No, area of this one right here.
Oh, 8.
Yeah, 8A squared. And then what's the area of my last rectangle?
3.
3. Because remember, this 10A is split between my top right and bottom left. So that's steps 1, step 2, step 3. Step 4 then says, find the greatest common factor of your top row. So you're going to find the greatest common factor of 8 and 4. If you do not know how to do that, or you don't remember, or you can't think like the greatest common factor of 8 and 4 by just mentally doing it, make your factor tree. So what can you multiply together to get 8?
2 and 4.
2 is prime.
We have to do that 3 times 8 equals 24 thing, or can we just put 24?
You don't have to. Okay? And what are my prime factors for 4?
2 and 2.
So we have 2 times 2 times 2. And 4 we have 2 times 2. So what do they have in common? 2 groups of 2, which would equal?
4.
Okay.
So your greatest common factor is 4.
So my greatest common factor is 4 what? What variable do they share?
8.
A. That becomes the height. Right, Elizabeth? So that becomes the height. So now I know the height. I know the area. So now what do I need to determine? I have the height and the area. The width. So I'm going to take 4A times something to find out the width. 4A times something to find out the width of this rectangle. All right. So how I do this, I worry about my numbers first, my coefficients first. So 4 times what will get me to 8? Elizabeth? 2. Okay? Now, I have one single A at the top, but my total area has 2 A's. So how many more A's do I need? 1. So this becomes the width. So I'm going to make sure that I label the width of that rectangle with the 2A. Then I go to my top right. Again, I do the same process. 4 times what will get me to 4?
A, 4.
4 times what will get me to 4?
1.
1. I have 1A for my height and 1A for my total area. So do I need another A?
No.
Nope. So the width of this rectangle is?
1.
Now, when you're finding the area of a rectangle, what's the formula you use? Area equals height times width. That's the order you want to make sure you write your answers in. So when I drop down here below, what do I know about these bottom rectangles? I don't know my height.
Oh,
I don't know what this here is, do I?
no.
Nope, that's what I'm going to find out. I know the area of each one, and I know one more thing about them. Well, if I know the area, but I don't know the height, I must know the width. So what's the width of this rectangle here? It's the same as the width of this rectangle above it, right?
Yep.
So what's the width of it?
2A.
Yeah, 2A. So I'm going to bring that down. So we need to find the height. So then what's the width of the rectangle right here?
1.
Yeah, because it's the same width as the rectangle above. So now we find our height. What times 2A could equal 6A? So what times 2 will equal 6?
3. Just in no variable.
3. And then if I take and plug in a 3 times 1, does that equal 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then it works out. So what's the height?
3.
Okay. Now, when I go to write my answer, because this is the area, remember here, this is the area of the whole area model, I need to write it out as in the formula, the height times the width. So what's the height of this model?
4A plus 3. No.
Yeah. And what do I put around that?
Parentheses.
Times what's the width?
2A plus 1.
Perfect. Questions? Yes. Not right now. So let's say that you flipped and you put your 6A here and you put your 4A here when you did your MA. You would end up with 2A plus 1 times 4A plus 3 as your answer, which would be fine too. Yes?
Do we have to do like you know you write down the I don't know what they're called, like the ones in the style